From the Payram Country Club, we return to stroke play competition here on the KLPGA Tour. This is the 12th E1 Charity Open. As we begin our coverage of this Friday round, we see a pair of players tied at the top, 5 under, currently the score to beat here in a 3-day competition for 900 million won. Great to have you along with us on the KLPGA Tour. Let's head out to the course, and we will begin on the green. It is a rather lengthy left to right uphill putt for Chunye Sung. She is at 1 under after 5 holes. She knew that the primary objective there was to just get it close and keep a 2-putt par on the cards. So Ajin and No Sungi are leaders at 5 under. Ho Da Bin still on the course and off to a blistering start. 4 under through the first 6 holes of her round. Pacquiao at 3 under, at 69 in the opening round, and, well, 9 players tied at 2 under, sharing 5th position. One of the most complicated putts we'll see today, uphill and downhill again. Really good weight control to all but guarantee a par. It is 29 degrees today with mostly cloudy skies, a 2.4 meter per second wind coming out of the west today. This is Cheyanu looking for the break to come in just in time. Starting it slightly outside to the left to begin that putt. She's even through 6, and that tap-in should see her remain there. Now Peng Min-ji with a decent start through 7 holes. Her par to stay at 2 under, 3 back. Peng Min-ji, she is playing for the 4th time this season. Has yet to crack a top 5. She's off to a positive beginning of the round. Disappointing miss with a look at birdie. Par is where Kim Chae-hee will decide this hole. On to 7, Yuni Na, who is at +2 after 6. All pars except for the double she had on the par 5 5th. It was a tricky one for her, to say the least. Went out of bounds after her second shot and could not quite recover to mitigate the damage. She goes off in search of the green this time. And now Chunye Sung. Slightly downhill, a little right to left putt. She navigates it and secures the par.
엣지가 111이니까. 네, 하겠습니다.
Now Peng Min-ji with an 8 iron off the tee here on number 8. She birdied the first par 3 of the round, back at 3, and has another excellent start to the short hole. Will curl inside 5 or 6 feet, and looks quite positive. Feels like one of the few competitions for Peng Min-ji that she has yet to win on the KLPGA Tour. Settling back into her rhythm here, and will be looking to make a splash today. She missed the cut to the NH Investment and Securities Ladies Championship at the beginning of the month. Did not participate in the Tucson match play last week. You could hear the commands for that ball to sit, but it does indeed roll off the back. Will sit up in the fringe. Peisonu, who is +3 through 8. Chihan Sol also in the group. A rocky start for her as well, +4 through her first 7 holes of the afternoon. And Chun Ye Sung next to strike the ball. It's an interesting layout this hole where there's the slight bend to the right with the second shots, with the tree line defending the front of the green. A 9-iron for Chihan Sol. 3 bunkers surrounding the front of the green. She takes them all out of play with a really nicely struck, rather, tee shot to begin. She could use a birdie or two as she nears halfway to get herself back into this opening round. Kim Chae-hee with that bend, the accuracy becomes more important here on the par 4. She's another player who's elected to go for the 3-wood instead of driver. She'll find the right side of the fairway, just about all the way at the end of it as well, with a nice opening shot. It is unlikely that Unina will have the deficit to even par with this stroke, but she needed more than that to avoid the risk of another bogey. Under hit, and will be in a very precarious position. Uphill start and then downhill immediately. It'll be a tricky line, and I think that will add a concern or two, and you would be able to understand why. And Chihan Sol, after her wonderful tee shot, it is 4.2 meters. As she looks to take the first step at a return towards even. Well, she's predicting a fair bit of break left to right. In fact, underestimated the amount. And watches that sail past to the outside. It is a disappointing par. Really good opportunity gone by the wayside. This is the par putt right away for Uni now. We won't have to wait very long to see how her score is affected. And again, an effort that she has left a little off the end and will be dropping outside of the top 100, double bogey 5 and a bogey here at 7. Peng Min-ji continues to climb her 3rd birdie of the front 9. That was little more than a tap in, only 1.7 meters, and well read left to right. Chun Ye-sung 90 meters out, a 54-degree wedge. She was hoping that the ball would bite. It comes a little bit late, but arrives just in time. Stays on the leeward side of the hill. Ball slightly beneath her feet in her stance as she addresses. And much more to the left when she lands and suffers the consequences of that. Cheonu, it's a slightly different vantage for her in the fairway. 72 meters out, the closest to the pin after the drive. Just a gentle pitch to get up. A slight bit of backspin doesn't save her from falling off the back of the hill as well. Too much club or too much in the swing, either way. Birdie nearly off the table. Really narrow margins. You can see she's not the only player whose approach shot ends up in the rough. And 0 for 3, though she avoids the worst of it. Difficult one, this par 3/8. recovery putts commence. The longest of the lot. Getting it started. And will just about end up, in fact, will end up on the fringe. That is a great illustration of the complexity and severity of the break here.
그냥 편하게 하고 두들겨면 돼. 넘어갈게요. 아니 그냥 잘 봐. 괜찮아.
Pungminji's drive to the right side of the fairway. Has the iron in hand to play this second shot. And Cheanu, we just saw what can happen if the putt starts too much inside to the left. Really well controlled in terms of the speed of the putt. We'll have no difficulties with the tap-in par. Unina will go first at 8. A little chip to about a third of the distance between herself and the hole. We'll slow up just in time to deliver her an opportunity for that par. Well, Kim Jae-hee currently experiencing the worst feeling a golfer can have. When your ball ends up behind you from around the green, you know something's gone significantly awry. We'll look to execute on the exact same shot she had just planned. That's the contact she was after, but unfortunately needed to hole it to avoid a bogey. Theoretically, for Park Hae-jun, a more simple putt. She's gone and decided for the putter instead of the pitching wedge, and I'd say that's the right decision. You can go on and finish this one off and be the first in the group to be through the first 8th of her tournament. Now for Chun Ye-sung, we know the right to left break will come. Also the factor that this will be downhill and picking up plenty of speed. So no birdie for her. Let's head to the rough off the left side of the fairway on number 10. Pei So Hyun with a 35 at the turn. High pitched second shot, and just about pin high when she lands, and the ball comes to rest on the green. Bang Min-ji from a fraction just outside of 100 meters has a really nice approach once again. She's a few birdies away from being a proper contender here at this E1 Charity Open. Chen Ye-sung, a little tap in, and she finalizes the hole and avoids falling into a bit of a bogey mess. After the par 3, a 517-meter par 5. It's a drive that's well off to the left into the rough. Caroms down the hillside, closer to the fairway, but still about half the distance from the cart path to it. Jae Min-kyung with a hold to attempt to return to even footing at the turn, and that wonderful drive will be a positive step in the right direction. Hong Ji-won just a little soft lift and roll and will narrowly stay out. It's a great touch from around the green, but unfortunately nothing to show for it on the scorecard. Well, Chun Ye-sung begins the group that will hope for better tee shots than the last. She avoids playing it too fine. We'll roll back towards the middle into that little valley between the two mounds. Now Kimu Jung from the rough just lifts it up, getting it started. And all the way in. We came close at the last, and this time a hole out from the rough. And for Kim Woo-jung, that's her first birdie of the day. Takes her under par and into a tie for 15th position. Excellent golf shot. Cheyanu, we can call this about 80% of a full swing. More clubs, she's in the rough. Our problem, the general misalignment, as she will stay on the green, but only by a fraction. As far as par 3s go, this one's certainly in the very unforgiving category. Kim Chae-hee, she is well past due for a birdie after that double at number 7. Her tee shot finds the rough and will do herself no favors. Bae-so Yeon addresses this at 10. Speed won't be a concern for her as this is significantly downhill. Our alignment is right on the money. That's a great birdie. Tied for 6th now, back-to-back and 3 on the round. Plays a great tee shot and is able to reap the benefits of it. We're near the bottom of the clock here at the 12th E1 Charity Open. We prepare for our first break of the afternoon. Peng Min-ji very much in the hunt, a position that she has made very customary for her. Tied for 3rd with Ho Da-bin and Park Yeol. So Jin and No Seung-hee continue to lead with 5 under rounds, with an additional 9 players tied for 6th at 2 under par. Stay with us. We'll have more from the KLPGA Tour after this quick break. It is turning into an absolutely stunning Friday afternoon here in the opening round of the 12th E1 Charity Open, playing on the Peiram Club in Hwasodong in the Gyeonggi-do province here in the beautiful nation of Korea, one of the best golf tours across the globe. So grateful you could make us a part of your Friday evening plans. It is a tournament that was won in 2023 by Pungshin Shil, who, to her credit, only shot a 4 under in the opening round. So Jin and Osungi have already surpassed that mark here in day number 1, but will that be the score to beat by the end of the afternoon? It is 2:33 local time. And we see a few more pars being finalized. The first from Chihan Sol, who is officially through the back 9 and will be looking to bounce back in a big way in holes 10 through 18. She shoots a 40 on the way out. Pungmin Ji, a different story for one of the best this tour has ever seen. An 18-time winner, and no, that is not a typo. On to 8. It is a long way down the hill for Cheonu. It's about 6, 7 feet perhaps off to the right by the time the ball finally comes to a stop. Let's go back to 9 with Uni Na at +3, and she chunks it. You could hear the reaction from the gallery, and our camera operators are masters at following the flight of a normally struck ball, but she catches it thick about a yard or two before and ends up in the rough. Not a 9-hole performance she will be hoping to replicate. Let's go to 8 next. Speed was pretty close to perfect. The read and resulting strike leads her 3 feet right of the pin. The next approach we bear witness to is a really good one. Well judged, well struck. It is maybe 3 revolutions of the ball short of pin high. Be about a 5-meter attempt at a birdie. And a right to left effort for Cheonu, who is able to stay level at the end of hole number 8. All pars through each of those first 8 holes. Uni Na, now the 4th, and can certainly make the case it's gone from bad to worse for her. Needed to stay in that front quarter, but rolls a long way past. That will be a putt to avoid another bogey. Hole number 9, it is 517 meters long. It is a dogleg to the right. It is only surpassed by hole 18 as the longest hole on course by 1 meter. A very narrow fairway with 2 pot bunkers to the left side of it and a wide bunker to the right side of the fairway. The second shot, likely a cut in an ideal world, and then more sand traps to contend with. 4 before the green, 1 at the back left of it, and the approach shots, as they're judged, they will try to stay very much to the front right quadrant of this putting surface. It brings each of those first 3 greens defending the fringe into play. Janu has hardly made a mistake to this point of the round, sends her drive off into the rough. And Yunina, she knows par is almost completely out of the realm of possibility, but she's going to give it her best effort and narrowly escapes without the bogey, but it would be tough to argue that the result of the hole is not a just one. Shortchanging the approach shot does indeed cost her a stroke. She goes out with a 40, double at 5, bogeys at 7 and 9 as well. Chen Ye-sung next to drive. She'll get a nice kick back into the fairway. Kim Jae-hee on it next. Follows a similar path to the left, but too deep into the rough for it to fully roll back down into the first cut of grass. Jian Solshi is 119 meters to the pin with a 9 iron here at number 10. It'd be tough to get this to stay as close to the front as she would like, but it's a very well executed shot from off the fairway. She can go on and complete. The quest for the bird might be a turning point for her in the round. Now need iron for Pungmin G. Oh, that is even more well struck. Doesn't have much to do, and if she can go on and finalize a bird, well, she will take sole possession of third and be within 1, still with half a round to play. And this is the Pungmin G we have been waiting to see in her return to the KLPGA Tour. It's a beautiful sight for us as the media and the viewer. It is a troubling one for her group mates and the rest of the fields. When the approach game is where it is currently, she is very tough to contend with. Let's go back to 9, Chunye Sung. Here is the aforementioned cut. Left to right ball flight almost exactly in the middle of the fairway. It's the exact shot that Kim Chae-hee will be hoping to play, though the lie is far from ideal. Takes the iron out and uses one heck of a lot of skill to play the perfect recovery shot. And as we take an aerial flight above the Payram club, looking at the holes cut into the mountainside, we see Pang Min-ji tied for third with Pak Yel, though she has just a few feet between herself and a pivotal birdie in this opening round of the 12th E1 Charity Open. We'll have more on the KLPGA Tour in moments. Here we go with the approaches, and well, that doesn't quite summarize the round thus far. Not to say it can't turn a page yet, but she just has not been able to work her wedges to the degree that she needs so far on this Friday. A chip or a putt, she'll have the option. Jae-Min Young, again the pin here on 10, just 11 yards off the front, almost in the middle, slightly more towards the left. And she went out to attack it, and she's hard-pressed to do much better than that, but a downhill effort from that range will certainly be on the more complicated side of the spectrum. Well, next to play, this is prime example of where you want, in an ideal world, to land that approach just off the front. Always more control of those uphill putts than the downs. Gave herself a really good chance from a long way to the right. Starting to find a really good groove. Multiple players in our featured groups. Another brilliant approach. Of course, it's not going to be as dazzling as her last effort that found the bottom of the cup, but a good shot nevertheless. speed is high. The line was fine, and the result is a miss. Now Uni Na, who needs to right the ship on this back nine, starting with a putt from just short of the green. It's a valiant effort. She'll just unfortunately have nothing to show for it on the leaderboard. Kim Chae-hee officially at the turn, and if not for that double at 7, a faultless first round. The season-long race to the Wemix Championship continues. Park Young-kyung, the winner of the Tucson match play, now tops the leaderboard. EA1 in second, third through fifth, Park Ji-young, Hung Yu-min, and Lee Jung-min. She had abandoned it before it came to a stop. She knew she was slightly offline. It requires one more tap in. Would have been an absolutely brilliant way to start the back nine, but unfortunately it will just be a par. And the rightful applause for the pars saved. Jae Min-kyung had to work for that one. A bend of the knees, which signaled the hope for a little bit more break just at the very end. Now Bae So-hyun, 4 meters between herself and a birdie to take another step closer towards the top. It was well worked, and she goes to a tie for 6. That is 3 birdies in the last 4 holes now. Pei So-hyun playing some aggressive golf and being rewarded for it. Approach from Peng Min-ji. She avoids the sand, but doesn't get a whole lot more help than that. Getting us underway on the par 3. We'll return to the group in a moment, but first on to 11, Park Hae-jun. Jae-nu with a positive first drive on number 10. And the best drive of the lot, the longest, the straightest, and off to a great start. And the drivers are really starting to come to the party as we enter our second hour of coverage. It's another one perfectly into the fairway. And just about. Peng Min-ji, she gave it her best whack, but par will be the best she will be able to do. And so ends our first hour. And a reminder, we showed you the leaderboard earlier, but the way the race to the WeMix Championship works in 2024, honors to the top 60, 20 million Korean won to the tour winner at the end of the season, and 1 million won per month to the monthly MVP. And after her win last week and her brilliant play to start the season, Park Young-kyung, our leader of the 12th E1 Charity Open, well, there are 2 of them, So Jin and No Soongi with 67s in their first 18 holes. On an overcast day in Wasodong, first round of 3 of the 12th E1 Charity Open, Chun-Ye Sung's approach, the part of the game she has struggled with the most so far today, once again leaving her with a lot of work to be done. No such troubles on that effort from the fairway, pin high and about 5 meters to the left of the flag. Next up will be Cheonu. She is even through 9, playing a 9-iron, 126, needing to stay to the front of this green. And it comes up just a hair short, maybe 8-iron would have been the ideal club, but you can't fault her aggression. And a little bit deeper, but still in a good position in the putts for birdie. Narrowly on the front, in a position to putt for a birdie. And an attempt soon to impact the top of the leaderboard. Peng Min-ji, she was able to birdie her 11th. Is just one back still with nearly half the round to play, trailing So Jin and Oh Seung-yi. Pakiel and Hang Jung-mi, they round out the top 5 here on the Friday round at the Peiram Club. Plenty more golf to come on the West Course when we return from a quick break here on the LPGA Tour of Korea. 54 holes of stroke play on the par 72 Payram Club, 6,039 meters, 6,605 yards. The distance to cover on this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday here in Gyeonggi-do. The return to stroke play after last week's Tucson match play. Just past the halfway mark, Cheonu, a high lofted pitch and roll. 3 or 4 feet to the right of the pin to try and set up a par. Well, there was shouts, hopes, and perhaps even a prayer to the golf gods that would stay online, but it would not have the final snap of break. She's got her game face on, but has struggled to recover from a double bogey towards the end of the front 9. And Chun Ye-sung needs to give this a good whack. Started downhill, comes back up to the top, gliding back to the left. That's a really well struck putt. Should be able to preserve that score, onto the next hole. Now Kim Min-ju quietly going about her business. Even through 11, a chance to get under par. Just enough speed. Moves into the top 20 with her second birdie of the day, her first since hole number 6. Denied the birdie in fairly heartbreaking fashion. And that is so close to perfection. But did not have the final little roll, and she will continue to be frustrated.
굿샷.
Bungmin-ji less than 90 meters on her approach here on number 12. The backspin comes in a little bit late, but not in the most difficult of positions there.
굿샷.
It is a very strong rip down off into the fairway.
굿샷.
And the next to tee off and down into the middle of the fairway. A good drive. Kim Jae-hee, she is seven, excuse me, back of the lead at this point, and the drives have been great. She just needs the approaches and the putts to follow suit. And it's a perfect 3 for 3 from our featured group as we carry right along and rejoin Pungmin G. Right to left, a fine line, but a bit too much speed. Pocket June, number 2 on the par 5, 12th. Slightly off the end of the right fairway into the second cut. And a little bit of company there off in the tall grass. Chen Yi-sung in a really nice position, perched up above the pin, 107 with the flag today. Slightly off center to the right, you can just make it out in the distance. She won't quite have enough to reach the top of the hill and stay there. She'll roll back to the front. Can putt through the valley towards her target. Finch couldn't ask for a better struck approach shot than that. All about the conversion now. And without knowing what the previous shot had been, it's almost as if we are in a shot-for-shot competition at the moment. We'd give her the edge. And now Bugman G able to roll that 4-footer in to save the par. Bugman G unable to reach the top on this hole, still with half a dozen in her first round to meet or best those 67s that currently lead this tournament. It remains Soojin and No Seung-Yi pacing the fields at the 12th E1 Charity Open. And should be a little more than a tap in, and is nothing more than a tap in. It's one step closer to the end of round number 1. And a player who is in a bit of dire need for a birdie. Park June, she's been right on the cusp. Well judged with the wedge, and the backspin keeps her exactly at the point at which she landed on the green. And that is a birdie secured as well for Kim Chae-hee. It's her first today. +1 she goes with 7 holes remaining. Uninak can perhaps count her lucky stars that she has avoided the sand. And at +4, she has very little room for error on this home stretch. This is an excellent first shot as she tries to get up and down for a par. It's a long way away for Bae So-hyun. Right to left. Needs to get over, though. In fact, it breaks the opposite way. And will just avoid falling. She hit that putt as sweetly as she could. She will delay her walk before she's forced to tap in one last putt. Yep, that ball is hovering over the lip, but is being awfully stubborn. She comes oh so close, but will feel frustrated, seeming that she can't buy one at the moment. Really well navigated. Putt for a birdie number 2 today. She has one early on the front and a second early on the back 9 here. Just 3 holes it takes her after the turn. Now Yunina. She went aggressive trying to reach in too. I stand corrected. This is an up and down for a birdie. Do wonders for her confidence. +3 her score now. That is her first birdie of the round after a very difficult 40 on the way out. Now Peng Min-ji on 13. Her second shot on the par 4. Lands on the left side, but nothing about the slope conducive to a return to the center.
멈춰주세요. 플레이하겠습니다.
Bucket June fresh off that birdie. Drives her ball right down the middle. Let's see if she can turn this into a little bit of momentum as she tries to chase closer to the top.
카메라 미리 눌러주세요.
See if the birdies in the group are contagious and can hopefully provide jolts to this group. Jian Sol could use one. She's on 13 and still at +4. Could make the argument this is her best shot of the round thus far. She just needs the putter to join the party. Second shot on the par 5. 5-wood in hand. She will just roll off the fairway into the rough, but not a poor lie by any stretch of the imagination. Carrying right along well, Kim Jae-hee. Five under remains the best 2 scores of the day thus far. Kim Jae-hee in her group trying to reel in the top, but for her, Just trying to get back to even would be a positive outcome at this point in the round. As we reach 3:37 p.m. local time, we have 32 players of our 144 in the fields under par, chasing down the win at the 12th E1 Charity Open.
그러면 안 돼?
응.
이만큼 왔다가 여유 있게 움직이고. 그리고 너 사료돼 있는 라인에 20%는 사용하지 마. 끝까지 100%다 땡기지 마라. 알았어? 여유 있게 쓰라 말.
여기도 그냥 찍어도 돼요?
그래, 그죠? 좀 더 뒤에서 해도 돼. 그거 잘못하면 맞는잖아. 그 정도에서 하고 거기서 다 잡으면 되겠네.
Birdie Well has run dry for Peng Min-ji. She settles for par once again, just on the cusp, but not quite at the top yet. (15, 16, 17, 18). Those are the 4 holes remaining for her. The closest to the top. Chunye Song, this is a nice little ride. She takes to around 3 meters short and left of the pin. Kim Jae 105 at 12. To the back third and left is where she strives to arrive. She's done so, and a really good look at a bird. And Baka June, her second at 13. Can't clear the final hill defending the pin. It's going to be a long first putt. Uni now 110 and pitching wedge in hand. She's also going to get stuck at that same portion of the green, though she will technically be closest to the pin.
집어서 있어가지고 약간
Approach onto the green, a long way away, but not quite as daunting a putt as this will feel for Cheonu. Nevertheless, it could take her to even. Picking up the speed as she enters the downhill portion, just about 2 feet to the left of a remarkable birdie. She'll happily take that par and move on to the next. Bungmin-Ji slightly short-changed off the tee on 14. And we, in the meantime, head back to 12. Downhill putt, 2.6 meters. Kim Jae-hee looking to get back to even. She's hit it too strongly. She just had the one on the front and the one birdie on the back thus far. Looks like she's starting to slip back into that pattern. Chen Ye-sung, 2.5 meters. Surely this will go for her. No, she's also misread it. Almost an identical end result to her group mate that had played just before her. 2 ball markers in quick succession. And no more than just a missed opportunity for a birdie, but a rather shocking bogey. Yunina loses the stroke she fought so hard to get to 12, immediately relinquishing it at 13. This was an effort nearing the fringe, and it was nearing a birdie as the cherry on top. For Pengwinji, alas, the wait continues. Moving on to the next tee, and a right to left faded drive that will not be able to dig in before the rough. And from the teeing ground into the fairway, the group is away. Falling into a rather consistent patterns of good drives, decent approaches, and difficult putts. Next shot on the par 3. Will just reach and loop around back to the middle.
살짝 왼쪽 괜찮은데 지금 이 각으로 있다가 바로 들어가도 바로 들어가면 우측으로 흘리진 않아.
Yunina, she will be next. 9-iron will be her club. Par 3s on the back nine significantly longer than those on the front. Approaching onto the green, she needs one stroke, one shot to add a boost of confidence and momentum into the final handful of holes. Chun Yi-sung will be hoping that she can find something similar as she plays her second shot from the rough. To the back right she wants to head, not to that exact level as she goes down the hill well into the rough. That will be an incredibly difficult third shot next. What about pit high when that approach finally comes to a stop, which it has done now? Kim Jae-hee remains off the top by about half a dozen strokes. Even more shallow than the last, with a lot of players definitely being mindful of the welcoming but unwanted bunker to the front right of the green. Bung Min-ji, she is on hole number 15, the par 4. 4 holes remaining to try and meet or eclipse the top of the leaderboard. Lee Joo-mi just hanging on to a spot inside of the top 10, halfway through her round. Excuse me, at the 18th and final hole of her round, having teed off on number 10. We have 33 players of the massive field we have this week at under par or better, with an additional 17 at even. This is the 12th E1 Charity Open, coming to you live from the Peiram Club in Hwasongdong. We'll take a quick break and have more on the other side. Stay with us here on the KLPGA Tour. Welcome back. It is 4 p.m. local time. We are to the final 4 or 5 holes. Unina having a frustrating day at the office. We're seeing that theme consistently repeated for those with the later tee times today. So Jean and Osungi, the leaders of the event so far, they were not necessarily one of the first to tee up, but they were certainly up there. They were also beginning on hole number 10 and did the reverse, which means we will be all but guaranteed to see plenty of them tomorrow afternoon in our Saturday coverage. So Jean in group number 6 this morning, No Sungi in group 22. And if that doesn't summarize the frustrating day, JNU has been right on the cusp, but it has been a series of par after par. We go to 14 next puck, June essentially from the fringe. Starting this high, knowing it will drop back onto line. It does so now, just loses it at the end. Another hole and another 2-putt tap in. Kim Jae stuck at that +1 score. Pang Minji 1 step closer. And the break too much to the outside. And this effort is about as close as you can get without impacting the scorecard. Thought she was going to be able to circle that number 3, but in fact she goes 2 past her targets and bogeys the hole. Right into your living room. as it makes a beeline that drive to our camera operator along the card path. And Kim Chae-hee, she is next here on 14. It has not been a hole that has been particularly kind to the birdies today. Really aggressive pin placement, so close to the front fringe. In fact, all round long, just seen 9 birdies here. "18 birdies, excuse me. 9 would be number 1. Chen Ye-sung, she goes even shallower, and that is the recipe to success. Nothing to report update-wise, though someone we are closely monitoring, Hang Jung-mi, who is off to a blazing hot start to her tournament. Just 5 holes in, up to 3 under par. Kim Ji-soo also onto the top few pages of the leaderboard, -1, and leading that list after just 4 holes of play. It is a peaceful Friday evening. You're in Gyeonggi-do with more from the E1 Charity Open in just a few minutes. Back to the course, we had Kim Jae-hee, the first of the birdie putts, and all of them low probability. That's not to say impossible, as just proved. The smallest of margins, denying her birdie here at the par 4. Now Bung Min-ji running this up from the fringe. The pace looks great. Couldn't have dreamed of much better than that. Just cooled off with the putter, but everything else has been ticking right along swimmingly. Now Chen Sung, 5.1 meters for her birdie. She's at even. Left to right break that kicks in a hair too early. Small, simple putts for par. The next few moments, Jeonu still at +1. Now Uni Na. Sandwiched between the par 3s. This is a tricky par 4, especially with the downslope just past the pin. She is unable to keep that on the green. Well, player we haven't seen much of today, Hong Ji-won, on her second to last hole, also a par 4. 348 meters. Interesting balancing act, the distance here. She's going to get a great kick onto the line and straightens out. Less than 2 meters will be this putt for a birdie. Well, this is the 12th E1 Charity Open. A tournament won last year by Pang Xin-shil, who shot a 73 today. Jung Yoon-ji, the winner in 2022. Not in action this week. Continued to tick along the most recent winners. Chi Han-sol, we saw glimpses of her around. In fact, she's still out on the course, but will be hard-pressed to make the cut tomorrow a 66 through 16 holes. That is +6. We'll look to get clarification on the situation with Hung Yu Na tomorrow, who was disqualified from the competition. One of the 144 players, a massive field this week. Kim Chae-hee, she misses the fairway. When we consider her round thus far, we're mildly surprised by that. She has struggled on the par 5s, but the par 4s have typically been right in her wheelhouse. Speaking of struggles, it was a very fine line attempted by Park Hye-jun, trying to clear the rough, hit the fringe and take some of the pace off, but gets stuck up on the fringe. Jae-nu, who has parred every hole but the 10th, the one blemish today where she bogeyed. Tied for 29th at the Tucson Match Play, missed the cut at the NH Investment and Securities Ladies Championship, and withdrew after round 1 at the 10th Kyochun 1991 Ladies Open to start the month after a really great month of April. She won the Nexon St. Nine Masters and finished tied for 10th at the first major championship of the season. She's been battling the consistency this season. Chun Ye-sung, her birdie came back at 5. Her tee shot next. Four top 10 finishes already this season. She is tied for 30th at the moment as she marches down and into the fairway. Now Uni Na, who just has not been able to put herself in many positive positions around the greens. Her tee shot at the par 3 goes long. Her shot from the rough does the same, past the pin.
나이스. 나이스.
I'm electing to putt from the fringe, and it was a good choice even if it doesn't go all the way. Park Hye-jun's long journey around this green continues. She was always going to have a difficult second shot from in and around the fringe. She putts it and leaves herself with 4 or 5 feet. Now Kim Woo-jung, this 4.5 meter putt would take her under par. She starts this well right and never gave it a chance to come on back. And perched above the cup. A formidable offering, but we start to sound like a broken record. The putter just not coming through today. Yunina, that is now 2 bogeys on the back 9 to go along with 2 on the front and a double. Drops her to +5. Hong Ji-won, meanwhile, this was all that was left after a brilliant approach shot on her second to last hole. Only 2 meters as she looks to join the what would become 14-player tie at 1 under. But in an almost unfathomable way, that putt has gone missed as well. Well, it's not an uplifting birdie putt, but it is one that ensures she's only sacrificing the 1 stroke as we head over to 16 and Pungmin Ji.
감사합니다.
After Pungmin Ji's impressive tee shot, we see more players struggling to contend with this dogleg right long par 5. Not only is the pin disguised, the par 4 rather, it is also an uphill stroke, often with 5-iron or more frequently hybrid. Chun Ye-sung the next to attempt it, also starting to fade left. It is on and off the green to the back and nestled against the rough.
아니 안 보이네.
얘를 어떻게
Kim Jae-hee would love nothing more than to be able to play this second shot. The insects had other ideas. Finally free to release, and what was bothering her before leaves enough of an impact that her approach will roll through the tall grass and into the sand. Pungmin Ji, an 18-time winner on the KLPGA Tour, has been on the cusp of the lead for almost the entirety of the back 9. This is anything but a run-of-the-mill or straightforward putt. Look how far right she has to start it. As it starts to come back, it loops around, but is ejected on the same side. It met the cup. A tap-in par despite really great putt. Bucking Young's win at the Tucson match play saw her jump 3 spots to the top of the table in the race to the Wemex Championship. EA1 also going up with her. Pak Jiang and Hung Yumin each dropping 2 positions, while Hung Yumin holds firm in 5th. And a top-down view of the island green. The postcard hole, if you will. Down the rocky pathway to the green that marks 3 to play. A bounce and a skip and almost fully onto the fringe. And the last of the group to tee off. With eyes to the pin, short, and that could be serious trouble. Best case scenario, she's saved rather by the tall grass. Worst case, she needs a drop, and that +5 might be inflated in the not so distant future. The sand save is halfway completed.
어.
Most intriguing story, at least in terms of the players we have been following over these last 2.5 hours, is Pengmin. It's a 381-yard, 348-meter par 4. She takes an unfortunate kick over into the rough. Needed to give it a big swing, and she's done exactly that. Par is what she faces on that putt. And from the tall grass, lifting it up and guiding it back towards its target. It's a decent effort. A tricky spot. Putter exchanged, and the par putt will be lined up next. To Kim Chae-hee on the border of the fringe. We are certainly in a birdieing rut, and it's not exclusive to these 9 athletes. Yunina. Well, the good news is she avoids the hazard. The bad news is this is going to be complicated. How she was able to play that as flat as she had is quite impressive. Now, we don't know the full extent of her lie, but she makes it look as though she was just chipping up from the fairway. Nice flop shot to hopefully set up a par. That's what Chun-Ye Sung is staring down at 15. A little tap and will not budge. Straight all the way. And she will drop. Oncheonu trying to stay at +1. Avoids compounding. And the mistake with that second shot settles for par 14 today. Just the one bogey. Kim Jae-hee, she knows she will be dropping to ensure it's just one with this short putt. And it is, unfortunately, a descent to a tie for 67th position. Double bogey, bogey, birdie, the tail of her round thus far. Now, Peng Min-ji, the setup shot on 17. Needs to go all the way back, just about level with the bunker. She has the speed to get up and stay up. Brilliant approach shots. And Bakajun just enough. Well measured, well struck, and her birdie is confirmed. Her par, excuse me, is confirmed. Union tap to get started. Nice bounce back from a bogey at the last. Not quite ready to go on 16, so let's use these moments to instead check in on the players finishing their rounds. Kim Woo-jung, that would have been for a 71, but she's pulled it slightly off its necessary line. So instead, a par, which wasn't necessarily the most popular score of the round, but she does finish even with a 72. Two bogeys on the back nine denies her from being within 3 of the top. Bae So-hyun, who hasn't had a ton of highlight reel moments, but instead has just played some great, consistent golf. Got an approach shot to just a few feet, and is able to secure her 6th birdie of the day, 3 bogeys, and she finishes the opening round with a 69. The first of the tee shots on the par 3, and the wide open green remains the same.
그만큼 맞으면 가긴 하지.
Shouts of frustration and disappointment for Pungmin-Ji as she loops around and will be down to one final hole to tie the top. It's not the first time, and likely won't be the last that an underhit tee shot is delivered at 17. No one in the featured group looks particularly elated with their tee shots. Birdies, well, they're going to be difficult to come by.
나무 넘겨서 이렇게 여기 넘겼지. 넘어서 그냥 바로 가자.
Unina looking for a positive and low-scoring final few holes as a way. We have located Kim Jae-hee. Requires some creative camera work as she's gone into the sand, but makes really nice contact and should be able to survive here. Janu's turn to play the slight little pitch, landing it a foot or two onto the green, and it's certainly playing quick as it goes all the way up the hill, and we'll have a putt that can be one to be a trip up if it's not managed properly. And go on the shouts for Bake Jun. Was up and putting. Chanye Sung will be putting, though she will be starting this from the fringe. It's as much of a hope as much as it could possibly be an attack as she loops around and shoots back out to our left of the pin. And back we go. The greens continue to prove to be a quandary. Not on this time without much drama, but a long way out. The yellow ball flies across our screen for the first time today, and it is not going to stay on the putting surface. Skips back into the rough. Now Chanu for the par save, yes. Nice recovery. Chanye Sung escapes without further damage to her score. Uninut's not been around with many shots or many holes to celebrate. This for birdie could do her a world of good, knowing she'll need to be just about flawless tomorrow to have any chance of making the cut. She knew exactly how that putt would break. But the odds were stacked against her.
나 순대라.
Jaemin Kyung, she can go to even. A little bit of exasperation, and you can understand why. She thought she had played that perfectly. Coming back up from the back right of the green. Half the job is done as she will attempt to go down now for par. Now Bucket June. 2 under can be attained. Putters remain ice cold. On to the next, where the drivers remain routine. She knows she's not the only one who's not been able to gain many strokes with the flat stick today, though. Two for two into the fairway. And the last on 17, Kim Chae-hee. Down past the sprinkler in the fairway. As we return to Pang Min-ji, her setup shot. Needs to stay as close to the front of the green as possible. She is an expert at these shots and proves it once again. If she can convert on that putt, she goes to a share of the lead. Lee Cheon-2, who we have not seen today, has also joined the fray at 5 under par. Hung Jung-mi, she is a level with Pang Min-ji through 16 holes, playing on the front 9 at the Menetche Ream. Kwon So-yeon also in the top 10, also still out on the course. As we near the end of our third hour of coverage of this opening round of the 12th E1 Charity Open from Peiram. The home stretch here, 17 and 18, 5 p.m. local time in Hwasodong. Pin high goes the first approach off the club of Chun Ye-sung. Chen 2. That's a brilliant scorecard. 6 birdies, just the 1 bogey at number 4. She's also reached the 16th, the par 3. It's becoming a relatively popular landing destination, Chen 2. We've seen that it's not completely detrimental as it's fairly safe down there. Bang Minji, she finally gets it to bogey-free round. Her first birdie on a par 5 today. Tied for the lead as she steps off the course. That's a very helpful skip back towards the target on a much less dramatic tee shot. Chun Ye-sung on the penultimate hole, a right to left breaking putt. Would be a heartbreaker if she hadn't been in this run where most of the greens have seen this exact path. JNU secures her par and is on to 18. Marching off with just one hole to go. An opportunity as we near the last to revisit the highlights from the round. It was absolute mastery from the jump. A quiet first 9 led to a kickoff to an exciting race to the finish. And for the vast majority of the round, it was, at least our portion of the broadcast, it was Sojin and No Seung-hee who were making some brilliant approach shots, and importantly, the deciding factor, the fact that the putter also came to the party on this Friday afternoon. No Seung-hee, this was one of the most impressive shots of the entire day. It was 2 birdies in 3 holes early on the back 9, and then, well, back 9 being the holes she played relative to her round, but she was on the East course for the final half and would start to mount that climb. She'd continue the great play in a run where she could just about not find one single bogey. That was 4 under. She would have one more coming up at 6. And once again, a shot that she really had to work for. The putter was brilliant, and it is the primary reason why she is at the moment a co-leader. That's her 5th and final birdie in a bogey-free round, would par the final 3 holes to push towards the top. And while it was mostly a round to forget in terms of the overall score, we did have an ace this morning. She cleaned up in terms of the awards, and the fact that she was our winner in 2023. She is outside of the top 50, but had that memorable moment on number 8. A brilliant hole-in-one. And speaking of brilliant, it's what we've grown to expect from Peng Min-ji over the years. It's been a little bit quiet as she has reacquainted herself with the KLPGA Tour, but it was towards the halfway point of the round that she started to find her stride, and the approach game and the tee shots on the par 3s really began to click for her, leaving herself these putts 4 to 6 meters out, if not closer, and would be consistently knocking them down. Now, it was not smooth sailing. She'd have a birdie at 10 and then par the stretch all the way to hole number 18, where she played an approach with the slight wind at her back to push her all the way on past the fringe, and would make this 7-meter putt to finally get that 5 under score that she had been chasing. And she is now sharing the lead as we drop the curtain on an opening round Friday. Hung Jung-mi, she is down to her last hole, 1 back. Lee Chae-eun 2, escaping the par 3 with a par to stay within 1, the same score that Son Ye-bin is at through 14 holes of play. Bakyal is 69 today. The same can be said for just one other player who was able to navigate the course and pick up that 69. Looking further down the leaderboard, we have 10 players at the moment tied, 11 now, excuse me, at the last refresh, tied at 2 under par, an additional 13 at 1 under, and then another smattering 21 players, in fact, at even, with many still out on the course. All the way down to our high score today, Kim Soo-min 2, who had an unfortunate day of an 88, the high score of the 144 players in the field. Hung Yu-na disqualified from the tournament. We will look for clarification before we get back on the air tomorrow for an important Saturday, especially in these 3-round affairs. It is moving day, and it is also cut down day. And it is where we will see the field at least reduced by 55%, if not more. This is the part where we leave you. We welcome you back tomorrow for the first shots, excuse me, of the second round at the same time, 2 p.m. local here at Peiram. But for all of us at SBS Golf, we thank you for joining us today and say farewell for now. We'll be back tomorrow with more at the 12th E1 Charity Open. So long, everyone.